Before we get too far along, I'd like to show you some nice voicings for the C minor and the F minor. So 1, 3, 5, 7. In my right hand, I'm going to play 9 and 11. 9 and 11 are really good notes on minor chords. So this is a great sound. I could leave the third out if I wanted it to be more open. I could put it in. Okay, so this is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. Then I'm going to go to F minor. 1, 3, 5, 7. There's 8, 9, 10, 11. Sometimes you might just want to play that. You know, the whole point about being able to play music is not always playing a song, but just expressing yourself. So you might just find yourself sitting at home alone and playing sounds and colors that just help you get in touch with yourself, get in touch with God, get in touch with silence, get away from the problems of the world, because they don't matter at this moment when you're playing, and they shouldn't matter when you're trying to create and do something beautiful. This is your opportunity to get free from that. Then when you go back out, you're a nicer, kinder person because you spent time in this zone. So at least that's how it works for me. So this is our C minor there, then this was F minor, and we want to look at this on the overhead camera. It's just a great sound. That's why I'm sharing it, for no other reason. It's just really cool. We might be more organized about our theory delivery at another time, but right now, that's just a great sound I wanted to share with you. It makes a minor blues sound really nice, or it makes just two minor chords sound really good. So then to move into specifics with this, we want to talk about the place these come from. So before we start playing, we're talking about our scales that go with a minor blues. And of course, the first one, this is the relative minor to E flat. So that would give us an E flat major scale, starting on C. And that's called the pure minor. It's unaffected, it's unaltered. It's this basically the major scale starting on the 6th degree. It could also be called the Aeolian mode, but I'm not going to talk about modes right now because there's a way to teach modes, and then there's a way to talk about modes and complicate everybody's life, and that's not at all what I'm interested in doing. So we're just sticking to actually what we can see here and what we can call it with the nice simplicity. The point is we get to make sound, not think about it. So if you know your C scale, and again I'm playing flat fingers here so you can see, you can use the exact same fingering on your C minor. And that scale is going to work over both of those chords. And when I came down, I was using a classical vehicle, I think. It was just thirds broken. that's the trouble with improvising. Sometimes you can't remember exactly what you did, but it was somewhere in that realm. So when I look at the video, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what I did. And you will too. You can rewind it. You could go up. In a classical book will have really good fingering for you, or you can use, this fingering I'm using here, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 3. So I'm using 1, 3 when the white key is lower, and 2, 4 when the black key is lower. And that really works well for the shape of the hand. Then I can get my thumb to that guy easy, and then I might do 2 and 4 here. 2, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3. So 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, or 3, 1. And a lot of times it has to do with where your hand is. Again, when you're improvising, you're not, it's not a lick. So you're landing with survival, and you're moving based on where you are, and what you're hearing is what's guiding your hand. So sometimes you have to shift to be able to continue an idea that just came to you. And that's why I always suggest the classical practicing. And I emphasize classical books and scales, chords, all the things that make songs. Playing classical music is a wonderful thing, but it's time consuming to learn a masterwork. And you can do lots of things with scales, triads, and all of the infrastructure, and then apply that to your improvisation ability. And that's what we're doing here. So, if I play it straight like that, it's actually almost classical, isn't it? So then, it just gives you the incentive to practice your scales. Okay, let's not forget our developing concept here of relative major and relative minor, and how that works and how they work together. And so, of course, we want to remember that when we go to our 4 chord. This works here as well. So we have an A flat triad. So we could have an E flat triad on the C minor and an A flat triad on the F minor. And notice I did the exact same thing, and it sounds like a little motif or a lick. When I get to the G, and then 11. Now you can change up and add on. So those are things that you can develop on your own, develop your own voice using the relative major, relative minor interchange. That's what I call it. So Somebody else may call it something else, but I like that term. That's what I kind of thought about when I was looking at these things in my early development years. And I thought, there's an interchange that's just, there's a oneness between those two things that has to be dealt with because there's a greater freedom then. Okay, so now if I'm going to do that, we keep going to 9, then that actually is the major 7 on an E flat. 1, 3, 5, 7. A lot of great sounds and a lot of great colors just using what's available. So then, when you listen to some really good jazz albums, you'll hear these sounds because that's what they're using. And so then you won't necessarily want the licks they're playing or the things that make them who they are, but you'll want to hear how they're playing with freedom and how they're negotiating their skills and their music. And at that point you start to realize, wow, all I need to do is practice and I will have something to say. And so this is not necessarily a lick, this is an arpeggio, and you could start on any note. And any note you start on is fair game because it's your game. See you next time.